Hello, Professor. My name is Xiao Yuying, and I am a member of GroupA87. Today, I will be presenting my research on the impact of monetary policy on inflation in Malaysia. Over the next few minutes, I will discuss how tools like the reserve requirement ratio, money supply growth, and exchange rate reflections have influenced inflation in Malaysia. Here's how I have structured my presentation. Let's begin with the introduction. First, we need to know background and research focus. Inflation management is critical for economic stability, especially in Malaysia. Bank Negara Malaysia plays a central role in managing inflation using tools such as RRR, overnight policy rate, and open market operations. This study focused on understanding how these tools influenced inflation during the period from 2014 to 2023. This study aims to analyze the relationship between monetary policy tools and inflation, quantify the impact of RRR, money supply, and exchange rate on the CPI, provide data-driven recommendations for policymakers to handle inflation effectively. Let's move on to the theoretical foundation of literature review. The research is built on three key economic theories. Quantity theory of money. It links money supply to inflation, emphasizing the role of M2 growth. Purchasing power parity. They explain how exchange rate fluctuations contribute to inflation while import prices. Monetary policy transformation mechanism. It describes how policy rate adjustment influence aggregate demand and inflation. While existing statistics provide the insights, many don't consider the combined effect of those tools or the long-term impact. My research aims to fill those gaps. In the next section, we will discuss methodology. We use data from reliable sources like Bank Negara Malaysia and the Asian Development Bank, covering the period 2014 to 2023. The dependent variable I focused on were the CPI. For the independent variables, I examined RRR, money supply growth, and the official exchange rate. With descriptive statistics and regression analysis, we explore how these variables interact. Next, I will present the result and discuss section. We tabulated all the data we collected. Here's what we found. RRR averaged 2.95%, shows stable adjustment by BNM. Money supply growth averaged 5.18% with some fluctuations. Exchange rate averaged 4.11, reflecting a gradual description of the ratchet. CPI steadily rose, averaging 120.09, indicating manageable inflation trends. These statistics show a generally stable monetary environment. We can also see this from this line chart. Now, let's delve into the regression result. Modern fit, the R-squared value was about 0.916. This means 91.6% of the change in CPI can be explained by the independent variables. RRR, a negative coefficient about negative 2.88, showed that higher RRR effectively reduced inflation by reducing liquidity. Money supply growth, a positive coefficient about 0.94, confirms that an increase in the money supply drives inflation. Exchange rate, a strong positive coefficient about 11.43, highlights that Currency decryption significantly raises inflation, especially by making imports more expensive. These findings align with this economic series we just discussed. We can also see this trend from three-line chart. So, what does this mean in real terms? Here's our big takeaways. RR as a control tool. Increasing the RR can effectively slow inflation by reducing the amount of the money circulating in the economy. Keeping money supply growth under control is key to avoiding inflationary pressures. Exchange rate stability. A stable exchange rate is vital, particularly for Malaysia, which depend heavily on imports. These findings underline how important it is to balance these factors for effective inflation management. Based on my findings, I'd like to suggest a few actionable recommendations. Adjust RR dynamically. Rise it during inflationary periods to curb spending. Lower it during economy shutdown to boost growth. Stabilize exchange rate. Use foreign exchange reserve to reduce extreme fluctuations in rate. Reduce dependence on the US dollar. Promote trade settlement in local currencies with key partners like China. In the end, this study demonstrates the monetary policy tools, particularly RRR and exchange rate management, play significant roles in controlling inflation in Malaysia. A balanced and adaptive approach is essential to achieve price stability and foster sustainable growth. Thank you so much for your listening, dear professor. I'm happy to make this presentation.